welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes. Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I am your host, Cerealsensei. We are on episode number 164. As always, you can give this podcast a listen on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Send questions to Dojo Talk Podcast at yahoo.com. Hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. And you can follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Cerealsensei. And you can follow my co-host on Twitter at GCZeus. And of course, as always, I'm joined with my co-host, Theanticool. What's going on, man?
I'm still reeling. Everything since December 31st has been just one punch to the gut after another.
That's how we bring it in 2020.
Yeah. Every day brings a new... I was going to say horror, but it's just... Every day just brings a new thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I started my year off in the most masochistic way possible. So, but again, we're saving that for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Whenever later. That's the next episode.
Yeah. Yeah. The next episode, you guys will get the inside scoop, some kind of scoop. I don't know what it is, but it'll be something. But for this episode, man, we're gonna skip a lot of the normal intro shenanigans, because if you can read the title of this episode, you will know that it is our 3-year anniversary of the Dojo Talk Podcast. Insert chants and claps, sound effects, stadium roaring.
3 years and I still don't have a microphone.
Hey, man. We've been making this work somehow for 3 years, going strong. Shout outs to you guys, anybody who's been with us for this long. I don't know why you did it to yourself, but we appreciate you. Keep sticking around. Bring some new people along so they can be a part of the festivities.
Shove us down their throat, damn it.
There you go. Hey, that's the energy we're bringing in 2020. You need to forcefully put this podcast on people. Just make them listen to it. Like, go in their phone and change their playlist and just put us in there.
No, we need to go old school. Just like burn the podcast to a CD every week and just go stand outside of like the mall and just hand it out.
Oh man, hey, that's you gotta reach the people.
Well, I guess now we just do it on like flash drives or whatever.
Or we could do what allegedly, I say allegedly because I haven't looked into the story. I don't know if you heard this about French Montana. He's being accused of hacking into people's Spotify and getting them to stream his music. So I don't know if that's the truth. If you're the hacker, hit me up.
Well, you can buy people to do that for you. Lots of people do it.
Yeah.
That's how you get all these people who have like 1 million like listens on Spotify and just like
nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But hey, man, if you are that hacker out there,
you're there. You're like a YouTuber or something.
Yeah. Get at me though. You might be able to discuss some business. But I'm gonna try to just get to this, man. So I want to do something different, something fun for this 3-year anniversary episode. This was an idea that kind of was floating in my head probably around like November of last year. You know, when you get towards the end of the year, everybody starts throwing out lists, favorite movies of the year, favorite this of the year, favorite that of the year, top this, top that. So, got my little brain to spinning and wandering. And I was like, we should do some kind of list of some sort. And I was looking at like the regular pound for pound list, and I was like, yeah, we could do a regular like pound for pound, UFC or even just MMA in general list. I was like, yeah, that would be kind of. Everybody does that. It's not fun. It's not special enough. So I had the wild, crazy, impossible idea of instead of just doing a pound for pound list of either just MMA or just boxing, what if we just threw everybody all in one list, whether they were an MMA fighter, a boxer, a kickboxer, Muay Thai, wrestler, world star fighter, I don't care where you are. If we think you're a top fighter on earth, we're just going to compile a list. So that brings us to this 3-year anniversary episode where we will each be listing our pound for pound top 10 fighters on planet Earth, regardless of combat sport. Yeah.
Can't wait till all the Taekwondo freaking nerds hop into the comments and just like, oh, what about this random person from South Korea who was like a 3-time Taekwondo champion? And it's like, oh, they're not even touch Taekwondo. It's like whatever the Taekwondo version of kata is.
He was 97-0.
Yeah.
They have
But it's like, well, I'm talking about like those like competitions that like Sage Northcutt used to do, which is why they bill him as a karate champion, where he just like he had those like little scythes that he would like spin around in his hands while he kicked. Like like those karate competitions you see on ESPN2 at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys aren't making it. You're talented though, but don't feel any kind of way if you
No, I want you to feel that. This is spite.
But yeah, man, that's pretty much what this episode is gonna be. Don't not knock on wood. This will be short and sweet. Talk about these lists for a little bit. Get in, get out. It'll be a good time. And I just wanted to do this because, I'll puff my chest out. I don't know about anybody else who's done this. I can't find any other publications who've made a pound for pound list, just lumping everybody into one. Though there's probably good reason they didn't, because it's like impossible. And the more I look at my list, the more I want to change it. But gotta ride or die with what I picked. It's here, so we just got to do it. But before we get to the list, I guess real quick, because I'm pretty sure you and I both took different approaches to this.
Yes.
How did you go about, I guess, like assembling your list, and what was kind of like some of your criteria and things that you were looking at?
All right. So I could not, in all good consciousness, put these guys on like a scale like, all right, number 1 to 10 scale. So I just came up with like, I guess it was like a rubric, like continued success versus like how deep of your field is and stuff like that. And I looked at each sport. I'm like, okay, how deep is your sport? How long have you been at the top of your sport? And excuse me. What's your level of competition within that sport? So, like, there's only one MMA guy on my list. Yeah. But like, this is no shots at anybody. Like, even being considered is like, I'm not gonna say an honor because who the hell am I? But it's like we're playing with like semantics at this point.
Right.
Like the difference between being like on the list and not on the list, but considered is remarkably small. But I didn't want to just like I also made the choice to break it up among as many different combat sports as I could. The only exception is, and this probably invalidates the list in a lot of people's eyes, I don't have an actual Muay Thai fighter on the list.
I don't either. And I
Yeah.
really, really, really wrestled with that.
So, and here's my argument. There are only two titles in Muay Thai that matter: the Lumpini title and the was it Rajan? Oh crap! I just had this. I literally practiced saying this. The Rajadam Nern Stadium Championships. Those are the only like Muay Thai championships that mean anything. There's also the Channel 7 Championship and the Omnoy Championship, but those are more like prospect titles you win on your way to, breaking into the top 10 in Lumpini or whatever. Um, I could not, like, I'm so far removed from like stadium Muay Thai, it's not even funny. I'll watch, like, if I see somebody on Twitter tweet about like, oh, this is a great fight that took place at Lumpini like 3 months ago, and it's finally been uploaded to YouTube. Like, I'll sit there and watch it. Um, Strangely enough, a lot of those fights don't even read off the decision. Like, they'll tell you in the little like comment box below. Yeah, it's really weird. So like I could not find a way to like rank them pound for pound wise. Like, oh, so and so is like a 3 division champion in Lumpini. And I wrestled with it. There were a couple guys who are like, oh, he's a 3-time Lumpini champion, but he also like lost the title 3 times. He lost it to this guy who's only a 1 division champion, but has defended it like 4 or 5 times, as opposed to this guy who won it and lost it immediately, and this guy who won the Lumpini title, left, lost, came back, was still technically the champion, or like had to re-win the championship. So it's really confusing. So there won't be a Muay Thai fighter on my rankings list just because of ignorance, which which I actually I'm a little shameful of. Like there's absolutely guys who just look at their resume deserve to be on the list. I just couldn't quantify it. So yeah, my bad.
Hey man, it be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, my rebuttal to anybody who may have a problem with either of our lists: go make your own. Go see how hard this is. You know how many highlight videos and fights and footage I had to watch just to like. It was a lot.
Right.
It was in every other fight or every other highlight video I watched. Like, man, he should probably be on this list. Oh, but what about this other person? It was like a never-ending cycle. At some point,
Yeah.
you just had to just stop and just be like, I just got to stick with what I got.
Exactly. And like I said, I broke mine down into like there are 2 boxers, 1 MMA fighter, 1 judoka, 1 BJJ dude, 2 or 3 wrestlers, 2 or 3 kickboxers, and I'm not sure who's going to fill up that last spot yet, but I'll let you know when we get to it.
I said, am I gonna need to go first?
I mean, are we? Well, why don't you explain your methodology,
Yeah.
how you went about doing your research, and we'll talk about how we're gonna handle the ordering of this.
All right. Mine was kind of sort of similar to yours, but also different. Because I think my deciding factor was different. I did look at um the fighters like pedigree, like where you at in the sport, your dominance, your status, your accolades. Kind of lump that all into like one thing. Um, how good are you compared to your peers? Um, not really just in terms of like record, but I think just in terms of like talent. Like when I watch you fight, there has to be something like special kind of about you.
Hmm.
And to me that was kind of my deciding thing. A lot of mine was eye test. It was literally like I just feel like you fight like you just fight better than everybody. Or even if you may not technically be like the most, there's something about you that puts you head and toes above everybody else for whatever reason.
Right,
So
right.
I definitely took in like accolades, like championships and dominance, and to be honest, that's kind of what saved the number 10 person on my list was kind of the accolades. because there were other categories I could look at, and I probably could have bumped them off, but I was honest with myself about that because I didn't want to put them on. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't want to put them on, but I thought the accolades were impressive enough that it kind of overrode the other feelings I had. I was like, all right, man, he'll get on here. But no, for me, like I said, it's just a combination of accolades, how good you are in comparison to your peers. But my main factor, it was really just like eye test. Like, there's just something you do that other people either can't do or they just simply just don't do it anywhere near as well as you do. Um, so yeah, that was kind of my like criteria for making this list. Um, all right. Well, I don't know. I guess if you still want to figure out your number 10.
No, no, no. How do you want to do this? You want to just trade off people, and if we happen to have the same person, we can talk about them?
No. I'll let you. You can do. Well, first I would say do your honorable. If you have pick like pick like 3 honorable mentions, because there's always gonna be people I know we got to give shout outs to who just barely didn't make it.
Right.
So maybe give like three or 4 honorable mention shout outs. And then I'll let you
Okay.
run through your list, and then I'll come around and go through mine.
Okay. Oh God, now I have to. All right. So I'm trying to decide. All right. Because she was going to be my number 10, but in international wrestling's weird. Or international like grapple sports are weird because they're always tournament based. So like there's the weird there's like the opportunity like, and if you're a team like a national team sport like wrestling,
Hmm.
um you might not see them internationally for a while. Like they might take time off or they have to go win at the local level before they make it onto the national team. And the number 10, let me just rephrase. There's no number 10. This is not a ranked ordered list. This is just like top 10 people. But she was going to be my number 10, and I looked into it, and it turns out she won't be competing at the 2020 Olympic Games. Kaori Icho. Iko. Is it Icho or Iko? I never learned that. I think it's Icho. I'm going to go with Icho. She is the most decorated wrestler in the history of the modern Olympic Games. She has 4 Olympic gold medals. That's more than any other person, male or female, in the history of the Olympics. She has 10 world championships. There was a period between like 2002 and 2016 where she never lost a match. The only people who were around and were as competitive at the highest levels of combat sports during that same period are Bernard Hopkins, Manny Pacquiao, and Floyd Mayweather.
Mm.
Yeah. Her level of dominance in her sport is ridiculous. But she did not make it to the 2020 Olympics. She got knocked off the Japanese Olympic team by uppercomer. God, I just had her name in front of me. Rizako Kawai, I think who knocked her off, and Rizako Kawai actually won at the 2019 the 2019 World Championships, I want to say. So, and she did win at the 2016 Olympic Games, but yeah, that was one of them. Another one who I guess people are going to be surprised isn't on the list is Terrence Crawford. Yeah, that was a hard one. Terrence Crawford, he was the unified 140-pound champion. Had just ran roughshod over that division. But I can't, in good conscience, put him on the list just because he's now at 147 pounds, and there are dudes at 147 pounds who have better wins than he does. Like, quite a few, actually. And I think he has what it takes to beat anybody in this division. But until it actually happens in the ring, I can't give him that benefit of the doubt. You catch my drift?
Yeah, when you're making a list like this, you gotta pluck hairs, and those little things is kind of
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like 140 isn't like the best division in boxing. Like it, there are certain divisions where guys who win in that division just tend to blow up in weight and just move up, and like we've seen that over the years. Floyd did it, Manny did it. It happens. And they go up to 147 where like there just tends to be a bigger pool of talent, and the talent at the highest levels tends to be a little better. Um, and Julius Ndongo is no Sean Porter or Errol Spence or Keith Thurman or even Danny Garcia. And I say this as somebody who likes Ndongo, but um, I'd really like to see Crawford like Crawford doesn't have the wins Errol Spence does at 147, and it's like Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter
Hmm.
and what's his face Brooke. So yeah, so that's somebody who I think people were going to expect to be on the list, but isn't. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna go to MMA for my last one. Someone who I think people who follow me on Tumblr would expect me to have on the list, but isn't, is Amanda Nunes.
Mm.
Um, it's just hard because like so like I am fully comfortable calling her the greatest female MMA fighter of all time. Resume is ridiculously strong for that. Um, but like when I compare it to some of the other people on this list, it's just hard to hold that up to that standard.
Mm.
And I'm sorry, since I'm gonna put a fourth person. If I'm being honest, I'd probably put Valentina Shevchenko on this list before I put Amanda Nunes because Valentina Shevchenko's done it in two sports, and
Mm.
as opposed to just the one. Um, but I don't even have Valentina Shevchenko on the list. She just missed out. So those are my honorable mentions. There are a few other ones. DJ, Rico Verhoeven, but I feel like those are self-evident.
I thought of Rico for a second. I was like, man, it's heavyweight. You ain't, get out of here.
Yeah. Well, it's heavyweight, and you just lost your last fight.
Yeah, I'm not putting you on here. Oh man,
All right. So who just missed out on yours, my man?
we actually had similar honorable mentions. Terrence Crawford was also one of my honorable mentions, um, and kind of for the same reason. And albeit, I think the one flaw that I'll admit in my list is that obviously, with MMA, I'm much more knowledgeable than boxing and kickboxing. So a lot of times when I look at a boxer's record or a kickboxer's record, there are probably names that I should recognize that I might not, or like even if I recognize them, I might not understand as much significance as they hold, maybe. But when I looked at Crawford passed like the eye test. But when I just looked at the list of people he's beat, I'm like, it's not that they were bad, but like they weren't
Who was
like
his
you said,
pound for pound win?
right. Like when I look at Errol Spence, like you got the Mikey Garcia, you got the Kell Brook, you got the Sean Porter. So to me, like that held a lot of weight. And I looked at Crawford and I was like, I really want to put you on this list, but I swear even if he just had one of those wins, I probably would have threw him on. But yeah, he was just short. Also, we had another honorable mention that was the same was Amanda Nunes. Um, she was just out of my. But I think I have a hot take, and I'll save it till I get to my list. Um, who I put on my list in front of her might, make somebody feel some kind of way. But it was really hard to leave her off because she held two belts, and I think she has been fighting the best that there is to offer. Like you can only fight who they put in front of you, and she's pretty much demolished everybody.
Right.
But I think, and like I said, when you come down to these lists, you kind of got to nitpick. It was something about that GDR fight that, when I thought about it, I was like, I don't know if I'm being too harsh, but I don't know. As much as he dominated that fight, there were just moments in that fight where I was like, I don't know, man. I felt like if she was fighting somebody else who had a little more awareness, she might have not made it. That fight might have been a lot closer than it ended up. I don't know. I had to nitpick on very, very small things. So that just made her miss just by a little bit. And the last person, and boy, I swear I looked at so many highlights and I wanted to throw him on this list so bad, was Naoya Inoue. He was, oh boy, I tell you, I looked at so many highlights. I watched the Nair fight over again. I watched some of his other fights. And I was like, I want to throw him on this list so bad. But when I finally got my top 10, like, solidified, I couldn't think of anybody, and you might scold me once you hear my list. You probably will be able to pick it out. I couldn't think of somebody who I could toss off the list to put him on.
Right.
I couldn't do it. I really, 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 really wanted to put him on this list. He, like I said, I said this off air. Naoya Inoue was like 10.5. Like, he was about to be on there. And probably my last, I'll cheat and do a fourth. I wanted to put Rodtang on my list too.
Huh.
I wanted to put Rodtang on, but
I guess spoilers.
Oh, he's on yours.
Well, no. It's just that, if Rod Tang is on your list, then it is just outside your list. I can guess who's on your list.
Yeah. I wanted to put him on, and I didn't know. Quick random note. He had a fight this year that I did not know about. That was amazing.
Really? The Haggerty fight?
No, or maybe it wasn't. Hold up, I don't know this guy. It was a tie fight.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
The dude's name is Sexton. I think that was from this year. Yeah. What's this guy's? I don't know his full name. I think they fought twice. I want to say. I don't know. I didn't watch the first fight, so I don't know how the first fight went. But I watched their second fight, and it was really, really, really good. But I was like, that fight alone I can't put you on the list off of one fight. Even though, he does have the one championship wins under his belt, and those were impressive. It kind of like Naoya Inoue. When I looked at my list and I had it solidified, I was like, I want to throw you on here, but I don't know who I would take off.
Right. See, so like so there's somebody who's on my list who is, if you're like a kickboxing fan. Well, no, you won't. It's been a while. That debate's probably died down a little bit, but there, like for like guys like Buakwa, God, I suck at fucking pronouncing names. Like with Rod Tang, it's just like he never won a stadium title. You feel me? That's part of the reason he was on my list or my honorable mentions, because it's like, okay, you're a very good kickboxer, and like you're having great fights, with Haggerty and was it Tenshin? Yeah, Tenshin.
Yeah.
But like, who like you're a Muay Thai fighter and you fight at the stadium and you're not a champion. Like, he still fights at the stadium. Like the fight you're talking about was at Rajadamnern Stadium, and like that was like 3 months ago. Yeah.
Amazing fight though. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch. Yeah. It's a really great fight.
Dude is a firecracker of a fucking fighter.
Yeah. But yeah, those are my my honorable mentions. All right, ready to crack this list open?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you going first or I'm going first?
You can go first.
Pressure. All right. God, I can hear the clickety clack keyboards. I feel like after I explained all that and I'm gonna name my list, and someone's like, "How did you put him on?" Like, listen, man, I don't know what you want from me. I tried my best. But top 10 pound for pound fighters list. Top 10 best fighters on the planet that I managed to come up with. I guess I'll just read it straight through, and then you read yours, and we'll come back and reconvene. But starting at number 10, I'm gonna go with Henry Cejudo. He made this list by the skin of his teeth, but I put into context Olympic champion. Regardless of how you feel about the DJ fight, he beat the greatest flyweight to ever live. He followed that up by knocking out TJ Dillashaw, who was on EPO, and EPO didn't help him. And then the Moraes fight, which I guess is kind of a thing for me because I hold Moraes in really high regard, even though that is slowly starting to. We talked about it during his last fight, the problems with Moraes, but putting like his whole totality together, like that's a really not even just an impressive streak, but considering like just his career in a nutshell, his athletic career, like you're an Olympian and UFC champion, and then like the people he's had to beat and the strides he's made, and I can't. To me, like his accolades are kind of incredible. So that's what I use to justify me throwing him in at number 10. Number 9, which I think is one of my hot takes because I left Amanda Nunes off, but at number 9, I'm going to go Valentina Shevchenko. And I was wrestling between Shevchenko and Nunes, and I came to the conclusion, and this is just me, this is my opinion, I think talent for talent, I think Shevchenko is a better fighter. My opinion.
That's fair.
I think she's a better, and that's literally just what it came down to. I stripped away accolades. I was like, who just in terms of eye test, I think Shevchenko's a better fighter. So at number 9, I have Valentina Shevchenko. At number 8, I'm gonna go Takeru Sagawa. Yeah, man, this dude is I've been gotten a chance to get like a lot more familiar with him these last few years. And there's just something about watching him fight that I can't really just like put my finger on it, but it's like he doesn't jump off the screen, but he does at the same time. Because he's not like super flashy. He's not. Well, you know what? Let me shut up because I don't want to. You guys know the other name that's coming, but like he doesn't do a whole lot of flashy, crazy stuff, but he is like crazy durable, and just kind of the power he has with somebody just so small in his frame, and I've just seen him just hit dudes like incredibly hard. In terms of like most of the kickboxers I've watched, he's easily one of the best kickboxers I've seen, and it's like he just has this kind of grit about him that I really like, and also in terms of accolades, multiple world time Grand Prix champion. I think the hardest part of putting him on this list is, and I didn't know this about K1, he doesn't fight as often as a lot of other kickboxers do, but I guess from what I've seen, that sounds like a K1 thing. I don't know. There's a lot of kind of like politics behind him and why he doesn't fight as often and why the Tenshin fight, I guess, hasn't happened yet. And that's kind of a whole situation, but nah. Takeru Sagawa, number 8. Number 7, Khabib Nurmagomedov. I had to factor in the fact that we've pretty much consistently said on this podcast that the lightweight division by far is like probably the hardest division in this entire sport. And I think that him being as dominant as he is in a division that's that talented speaks to how good he is. And it's also crazy because up until recently, his striking got a little bit better. I'm not going to say he's a one-trick pony, but you know what Khabib is going to do. Come in, take you down, beat you up, and maybe strangle you at some point. The fact that he's been able to do that pretty much his entire career and has made very, very, very talented fighters look fairly mediocre when he fights them. His dominance is something in this division. I don't know if we're really ever going to see a streak like this again. Well, Tony Ferguson might have something to say. He's been killing people for a while now, but just the dominance in the division that he's doing it in, to me, that's amazing. He fights killers pretty much every go out, and he makes them look pretty amateurish. So for that, I put Khabib at number 7. At number 6, Tenshin Nasukawa. And you know what's crazy? I actually originally had Tenshin and Takaru flipped, but I saw that Rising fight, which we'll talk about next week.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, bruh. Tenshin,
and for those who don't, like, Rui Bata is like a legit, very good J kickboxer. He is not a scrub.
Yeah, and he made him look like he made him look pedestrian. Like, Tenshin is just, he was a guy who accolades, like he has some, but a lot of Tenshin making this list at number 6 was just like eye test. Like, bro, this dude is like a phenomenal just fighter. Like, some of the stuff that he pulls off is just like, I don't understand. I don't know how you do this and how you put it all together, but he does things I really haven't seen many other people do. He is literally like a video game character in real life, but like he lands all of the combos and all of like the like the finishing moves and all that. Like, this dude is just a phenomenal fighter, man. It is, every time I watch him fight, I'm just like, bro, I don't understand how you're this good. So yeah, number 6, man, Tenshin Nasukawa. Number 5, and he originally didn't start off high on my list. This might be recency bias. I don't care. It's my list. Number 5, I'm going Alex Pereira. I feel like he just doesn't get talked about enough. And I don't know if it's just a kickboxing thing, because people in America don't really, that ain't our thing, because we're not, clearly the other countries are just kind of better. But, bro, Pereira's been out here snatching souls. I remember watching him when he beat Simon Marcus, and I was like, bro, he like bodied Simon Marcus.
Yeah.
Back when like Simon Marcus was like still like really, really good, and he has been on a tear like ever since that happened. Might have been before then. I don't know. I wasn't really keeping up with him much before then, but dude, he has just been melting faces and just knocking people out, and he just makes it look so. He lands like these finishing blows that are just like, I don't know. He's just one of those guys I look at in glory and I'm like, I don't know who y'all are gonna get to beat him, because he's just kind of out here he's just out here clowning. Like, he is straight clowning on y'all and just making it look easy. And one of the last people who could claim that he beat, I ain't gonna say claim, it happened, that beat Izzy, Israel Adesanya.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pereira, yeah,
all the way the fuck out.
Yes, cleaned him, mopped him out, man. Man has 2 belts, glory middleweight and light heavyweight champion. I think he is incredibly talented. I don't think enough people talk about him. So number 5, I'm gonna go Alex Pereira. Number 4, I'm gonna go Errol Spence Jr. I hesitated putting him on this list only because of I didn't know if he was gonna fight this year because of the whole car crash thing. And I wanted to make my list of like active fighters, and I was like, well, if he's not gonna fight this year, I don't know if I should put him on. But according to him, he's back in the gym, whatever. I don't know if that's a good idea, but that's another discussion for another day. But nah, man, this dude is just really. He's probably one of the people I could point to that kind of got me back into watching boxing, because I went through a period where I was watching it and then like I fell off for a couple years, but he was like the one guy who I kind of would still keep an eye on if I heard his name, and kind of like we alluded to earlier, the Kell Brook fight, which I thought was incredible, good performance from him, one where he had to really dig deep, he had to work for that win. The Mikey Garcia fight.
I feel like we should stop bringing that fight up as like a test of quality so much as it was Mikey Garcia just not wanting to cut any weight.
Yeah. But he just
I'd
kind
be
of.
like congratulating Deontay Wilder because he knocked out like one of the Charlo brothers.
But I guess, but it was just like the way he just, it was like a mouse just kind of playing with his food. Like I don't know. Um, and
I
then
mean,
the
like Garcia's a very good boxer, like a pound for pound talent. It's just
Spencer just
it's like if you were like a 17-year-old and you beat up your 12-year-old brother.
right. But even still, I feel like the odds were in Errol's favor, but he still made that look like it was that easy. Like I don't know, it was wild. And then of course the Sean Porter fight, which we talked about on here, a fight where I think he got taken a little out of his element and still managed to like, you know, really just pull it off and gut out a really grimy kind of fight. But nah, man, he's definitely one of the best. He's been one of my favorite boxers to watch, and I think he is incredibly talented, and I really want to see him fight Terrence Crawford really bad. Um, but that's once again that's also another thing for another day. But no, he probably is my favorite boxer. He's not number one, on this list, but he's probably my favorite boxer to watch. I think he's incredibly talented. Number three. Mm, I even have quarrels with this, but I threw him on there, so I got to stick with it. Number three, I'm going Jon Bones Jones. Um, as much as I think his time is coming up, I still have to be fair and judge about what he's done so far. And up to this point, his dominance has been how many years? I don't remember how many years. It's been a while, man. He has been at the top of this hill for a while.
2010, 2011.
Something like that.
Yeah,
And
hold
he
up.
is
Let me double check because it's when Shogun came back off of. Oh, well, I guess we can go back one fight earlier. It's from when he been on the top of the mountain since March 19th, 2011.
mm,
Unless you take
and
that year sabbatical or that other year sabbatical.
eh, on and off. And that was another thing that almost I was like, should I put him on? He had the whole. But do I care about steroids? You know what? I don't know. That's another whatever. You know what? I don't care about that. But just whatever. But nah, man. Jon Jones just he dominance, man. Like he ran through like he like cleaned that whole division out, and for the most part has relatively just made it look easy. And for what he might lack in, like he's not technically the most skilled fighter. Like he's not like a super crisp boxer or anything crazy. But to me, it still speaks to his talent that I think there are people who strike better than he does, who have like better technique, but they don't fight as smart as he does. They don't utilize the tools the way he does. And there's just something about when he fights. I'm always really intrigued by his fights for some reason. Like, it's not a coincidence that like I would probably say the last like 4 UFC pay-per-views that I've bought were Jon Jones headliners. I'm just really intrigued when he fights because I like to see how he works and how he like just approaches different opponents. And dude he's he's a nut job sometimes. He might not be the best person on earth, but I really enjoy watching him fight, and I think that he's just. And I don't want to make this a whole rant, but like I get tired of seeing the whole because I've heard this a lot throughout his run of he's only good because he has like an 83-inch reach. I don't know what his reach is, but you know what I mean, you know. And I'm like, well, if that was true and reach was just the only determining factor, Stefan Struve would be undefeated and he'd be the greatest heavyweight of all time right now. Um, yeah, he has a size advantage or a reach advantage over pretty much everybody he fights, but not everybody who has like his frame really knows how to use what they have. And I
Mhm.
think he's probably the best at utilizing like his physical gifts to the best of their ability out of pretty much most MMA fighters. Though I do wish, I think we mentioned before, kind of wish he would kind of go back to his wrestling. He's been really striker friendly lately, but his IQ puts him just head and toes above everybody else. It's very rare that I watch a Jon Jones fight and say, oh, that was a bad idea. Dude he fights incredibly smart, and all his shenanigans aside, he's an amazing fighter. Even though I think his time is running short, but up to this point, he's number 3. So number 3, Jon Bones Jones. Number 2, Vasyl Lomachenko.
Wow.
Bruh, I've never watched somebody and just my jaw be dropping when I watch this dude fight. I've never seen, bro. He made a man quit. Like
He made 3 men quit.
like, I've never seen that before, and it wasn't like, oh, I quit because my eyes super swollen shut, or oh, I'm bleeding profusely. It's like, bro, he's so good that it's like, you know what? You can have it. Like, every time I watch him fight, it is, like I said, going back to the criteria on my list, a lot of my main factor was eye test. Like, I don't know, I can't name anybody else who fights like he does. It's the footwork, the movement, the angles, and even though, like, he's not like a power puncher, he's not gonna go in there and give you like a one shot knockout or anything like that. But bro, he is like a master technician. It is beautiful to watch this man work. Yeah, he's all eye test. Like I'll watch him and I'm just like, I'm in amazement at how good he is and the way he moves in that ring. And I was talking to some people about him at work. Of course, I live in Maryland, so Gervonta Davis is a pretty big thing over here. I was telling people, man, like, I know we all like Tank Davis, hometown dude, rah-rah, I get you. After what we just saw in that last fight, I don't think he wants that smoke. I think if he fights Lomachenko, if he don't get like a nice, if he don't clip Loma early by like round 3, he's going to be in for a long night. A long night. I think he's going to hit a lot of air. It's going to be a lot of swinging, and Lomachenko's not going to be there, and then when he reappears, he's going to hit you with like a 5-piece, and then he'll disappear again. Like, he does like the Dragon Ball Z fights in real life, when you get like the 5 string of punches, and then like they disappear, and then they reappear, and then they start fighting again.
They're
like,
just behind you.
Right. Like, he does that in real life. Yeah, man, this dude, he is incredible. He is incredible to watch fight. So he is my number 2 pound for pound, and my number 1 pound for pound best fighter on the planet. I'm going with Canelo Alvarez.
Hey.
Bro, why? Like, I know the Kovalev fight wasn't like his best fight, but I think it speaks.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No. You're heading down the road I was going to mention.
It speaks to his talent. That how is it that he went up in weight? He was a smaller guy, but yet we're worried more about his power than Kovalev. And like, you just watch that fight, and it's weird to like look at Kovalev and be like, why am I more worried about Kovalev getting knocked out? This should be the other way around. Like, and it's not like Canelo Alvarez is like frail, but it's like, how is Canelo, like, at some point he's gonna bully this guy? And he just eventually did, and like got him out of there. And he also, like, we've been somewhat critical of him. Like, sometimes he might take a round or 2 off. But still, in the grand scheme of things, bro, when Canelo's on, like, good luck. Good luck dealing with that power. Good luck dealing with that defense. Just
like the chin on the man.
Yeah.
Because this is a dude who ate some of Gennady Golovkin's biggest punches. Like they were nothing.
Yeah. Just kept trucking. Just kept trucking. He's like, to me, he's like the perfect package in terms of just like a boxer. Like, he's gritty, he can take a hit. He has really amazing defense, and then also on the offensive end, he can put you to sleep. He has really great combinations. Like I feel like his biggest enemy is just kind of him. Like there's not really anybody else I could look at like skill for skill and be like, oh no, they could probably take Canelo. I don't. I feel like the only person that might beat him is just Father Time. Like eventually he'll just slow down a little bit and
He has been doing this since he was 15.
yeah, been out here for a while now. But yeah, like Father Time might be the only person that kind of might be able to put a slow to him because he is that man is he's another guy who I watch and I'm like, yeah, he's on another level. Like he is, even though he might take a round or two off here and there, he is still clearly he can afford to do that because of how good he is. He is just on another level compared to everybody else. It's just yeah. I don't really have much more to say. Canelo Alvarez. If you've seen his fights, man, I don't feel like I don't really need to explain. Canelo Alvarez, number one for me, pound for pound, best fighter on the planet, and that is my list.
All right. Solid list. Solid list. My list is very different, though. Surprisingly, it's also kind of the same. Similar. Or similar. Well, okay. There are people on it. I think people who casually follow all the sports might see that we overlap on, but we'll get to that. So I am ranked mine because I wasn't brave enough to do it like you were.
Probably saved a lot of time too.
But I'm gonna start off with the one you ended on. One of the dudes on my list is Canelo Alvarez. He's one of the 3 boxers I got on my list. And it's hard it's hard to oversell his accomplishments. Like we can go back and forth on the Golovkin fights all we want. I thought Golovkin won the first one. I thought Canelo did enough to win the second one. Even if you had like a Golovkin card, I don't think it was crazy that Canelo won the rematch. But like, there's a dude who fought Erislandy Lara when he didn't have to. This is a dude who was like, you know what? I'm going to move up 2 weight class. I'm gonna move up, 2 weight classes and fight Sergey Kovalev, and he didn't have to. And we could argue about how much of Sergey Kovalev was left after getting knocked out by Eledar Alvarez and the 2 losses to Andre Ward, but like he at the time he was the number 1 light heavyweight in the world. I'm not sure if he was like the consensus one because what's the dude who beat Adonis Stevenson? What's his name? Or am I going crazy? Hold on. But point being, like Golovkin, Canelo's won titles at 4 divisions, for everywhere from junior middleweight up to light heavyweight. If it wasn't for Andy Ruiz, he'd be the Mexican who's won the belt at the highest weight class. Well, Andy Ruiz and Alejandro Jimenez, but that's a different topic. Like the dude is the best boxer on the planet right now. Like in an era where like it's been pulling freaking teeth to get guys like Sean Porter and Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia and Errol Spence and Kell Brook to fight one another. Canelo's he's been out here taking the toughest fight more times than not. You know what I mean? Like I said, you don't fight Lara unless you have to. And Canelo, being at the time the second or biggest draw in the sport, did not have to. Chose to. You kind of got to respect him for that. Like the fights with Austin Trout, freaking, it's hard. It's just really hard to like just stay like. And yeah, he's had the easy fight here or there, but like this past year, Danny Jacobs, Sergey Canelo Alvarez, top pound for pound guy in the sport. Next up, I have somebody who's not on your list, and he's a judoka.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, so this is where this is why I didn't want to rank it because it's so hard to compare. Like, like if you're a judo or a wrestler or jiu-jitsu guy, you fight in tournaments and you fight the best every time out, or you compete against the best every time out. But like that might be like once or twice a year.
Right.
So it was like really hard to weigh that against like somebody who's fighting like three different opponents who are, in theory, red hot. Um, so yeah, beside the point. Next up, I have Teddy Riner from France. The 30-year-old judoka is a two-time Olympic gold medalist, one-time Olympic bronze medalist, and an eight-time world champion. Now, Reiner might not be the most technical judoka in the world. Actually, he's a heavyweight, so I'm just going to go out and say he is not the most technical judoka in the world, but he's by far the most dominant. Um, I think only recently he lost his first match in like 8 years or something. But like, point being, he's built like Black Superman, Black French Superman. He comes from the same school as like Cyril Gane and freaking Fred Sangano. Dude is jacked as shit, and he's just out here just freaking tossing people. And it's not always fun to watch, but he is dominant as hell. Um, so yeah, Teddy Riner up there, top 10 pound for pound uh, combat sports athletes in the world. Um, Next up, I have Jon Jones.
Mm.
If it was not like Jon Jones will be, I, like you, I think Jones's time is coming. And I don't even think it's because the division's getting better. I think the division's just getting more acclimated to who Jones is, if that makes any sense. Like his competition's getting bigger and more athletic.
Mm.
Yeah, like, and I don't want to. I'm not one of those people's gonna knock his legacy. Where like, oh, Shogun was coming off of like double knee surgery. Rampage was like 1-3 in his last four. Leo Machida slowing down. Rashad Evans slowing down. Like those are still very, very good wins in a sport where like getting very, very, very good wins is really, really, really hard, especially consecutively.
And at the time, those were still the best guys around.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I'm like you. I think his time is coming. I think I don't think the division's getting better. I think it's getting more. I think everybody's honing in on a style, and you can start to see the little the little pliers being applied to Jones' style and being peeled open. And we'll talk about it when we get to our awards show and we talk about biggest disappointments. But yeah, Jon Jones, for what it's worth, is still the pound for pound best fighter in MMA in my book. I think the time is I think 10 title defenses. He's gonna hit. He might hit 11, which would tie him with Demetrius Johnson, not for consecutive, but just for most overall. Um, it's dude is fantastic. Like I think he's pared down his game a lot, but it's still out here getting wins and helping him push through hard fights. Now it feels like I'm knocking on him too much, but yeah, no, Jones is for all types of different opponent, different backgrounds, different sizes. Yeah, and he's done it despite being the biggest self, well, the second biggest self, well, I'm gonna go with the third biggest self-sabotager in recent UFC memory behind Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey. Yeah, so he's an elite company in that regard. But like, Jon Jones will retire or he'll get, he will age out of the sport eventually, being the biggest what if in MMA history, despite also potentially being the best fighter of all time. So
And he's in his elite company in every special way imaginable.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So Jon Jones is next on this list. Um, And here's another one who was on your list and is also on my list. Alex Pereira. Pereira.
Hey,
Yeah.
there we go.
Glory middleweight and interim light heavyweight champion, was it?
Nah, it should be all right.
Outright.
I think him and the God, I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. The one he face planted. Actually, he's face planted a couple people, so that doesn't narrow
Yeah.
it.
I should have looked this up because I was like 100% sure they were talking about him as like the interim champion, but that might have. Yeah, he's the interim light heavyweight champion.
No.
Yeah, I want to say it's not Kashenko. That'd be dumb. Point being,
Whoever it is losing.
might have been the last guy to beat him. No, Jason Wilderness is no. Okay, I don't know who the actual Glory light heavyweight champion is. Yeah, I have no idea. But Alex Pereira is out here murdering people every time he comes out. I don't know what more you could want from somebody. As a as a fan of combat sports, and particularly ones where you can knock the other person out. Dude is just ridiculously fun to watch. He is just murking middleweights and light heavyweights left and right. If I have one critique, it's that we'll never get to see him fight Artem Levin.
Yeah, because Artem gone.
Artem's never coming back.
Yeah, Artem is gone forever.
And again, I can't blame him, but it sucks.
Yeah.
It's Artem Vakatov, who I think is the champion.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a fought. I think he got hurt back in June after his fight in June, and like they haven't been able to book him in a fight since. Yeah, no. Alex Pereira, you said everything I had to say about him. Like, dude is just super fun. He's just out here murking dudes every time he comes out.
One more quick note on him that I forgot to mention in terms of like attributes. He has really good hands as a kickboxer.
Oh yeah, he's like, and you'll find this a lot with a lot of like the best kickboxers in Glory for some reason. Like they're just like the thing that sets them apart from the rest of the division tends to be like they're just better boxers.
Mm.
It's really weird. Yeah, and yeah, not a whole bunch more to say about him, to be honest. I think we got him covered. So here's one that was not on your list. And he's a wrestler.
Hey, all right, there we go.
So I'm gonna get to my first wrestler. My first of two. His name is Abdul Rashid Sadulayev. Now, Sensei, do you know who Kyle Snyder is?
I know the name. I've definitely heard the name.
So Kyle Snyder was the man back in 2012. Well, was it 2012? Am I confusing my? Hold up, I'm gonna get this right for you. So Kyle Snyder is an Ohio State wrestler. Was an Ohio State wrestler. Back in it was 2015. While he was a sophomore, I believe, in college, he competed for a spot on the U.S. national team and then went on to win the World Championships in Vegas that year at the 97 kilogram weight class. And in the following year, which I believe was his junior or senior year, he went on to the 2016 Olympics and won a gold medal. All before he was 20. Yeah. Freaking really impressive, right?
When's his MMA debut?
Well, he has said he wants to join the UFC. But that would be. But he also ran up against Abdul Rashid Sadulayev, aka the Russian Tank, at the 2018 World Championships. Sadulayev proceeded to pin him in under a minute. Yeah, dude is really freaking good. He's a 23-year-old from Russia. He also won Olympic gold at the 2016 World Championship Olympic Games. He's a four-time world champion, two-time European Games champion, three-time European Championships champion, and he's won the Golden Grand Prix, the Ivan Yarrigan Grand Prix. So I don't know if you know much about that tournament, or I might be because there are two. All right, so there's a tournament in Russia that is specifically has all the best Russian wrestlers in it, right?
Mm.
And the heavyweight division is considered basically the best. Like it's harder than the actual Olympic Games because it's believed that all the like Soviet state heavyweights are the best heavyweights on the planet, or basically anybody from like 97 kilograms up, basically. Like if you're 97 kilograms and up and you are considered one of the best wrestlers on the planet, you're probably from a former Soviet state. Sadulayev has won that like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, dude is an absolute fucking machine. Like if you're listening to this and you've never seen Sadulayev wrestle, just go on YouTube right now. Like pause the episode, go on YouTube, watch him. He is amazing.
Yeah, I'm watching some highlight. He is fast.
Yes.
Bruh, he is.
It's like I know that like WADA or whatever I had to ban Russia from the 2020 games or whatever, but like if he doesn't like I really hope he gets to go I really hope he gets to compete because like he's just so fucking good. He is just so unbelievably good. And like I wish I had like the wrestling chops to really talk about his game like that. But like if you want to talk about an eye test,
Oh yeah, no, he's handling.
yeah.
He's handling dudes. Like, whoa, what was that? Hold up. Please do a replay. He like flipped over this dude's back.
Yeah. He's a ridiculous athlete.
He like literally did like a Power Rangers flip like over this dude's back.
If you follow international wrestling or anybody, if you follow somebody on like Twitter or Instagram who follows international wrestling, the odds are if you ask them, they tell you Sadulayev is the best wrestler on the planet, and it's hard to disagree once you see him wrestle because he is that type of special once you see him on the mat, like absolutely next level, performing on a level all his own. So go check him out if you haven't seen him before. All right. So next on my list. Okay, so I went boxer, judoka, MMA fighter, kickboxer, wrestler. So I'm gonna go back to boxer. Because again, my list is not ranked number 1 to number 10. It's just ranked top 10. I don't want to play anybody in order. So I feel like my number 10, like my next one is like second boxer. Like, so you could put Errol Spence in the spot. You could put Terrence Crawford. Now Inoue. Like these are people who like I see other like if you go on the transnational boxing rankings, which is a boxing ranking from like news, like people who follow the sport, like journalists and like basically it's supposed to be like a way to keep track, like an actual rankings board for like who the best boxers on the planet are. Like if you go and you look at their pound for pound, they'll have like I think Canelo's number 1. It's like Nadia Inoue, Vasyl Lomachenko, Terrence Crawford. I'm going to tell you who I believe is the number 2 pound for pound boxer on the planet. It's Alexander Usyk.
Oh.
Yeah. So much like Vasyl Lomachenko, or I'm sorry, Terrence Crawford, Usyk cleared out his division and took all the titles, but I think cruiserweight's a better division than 140, to be honest with you. I don't know if everybody agrees with that, but Usyk also did it in a way that he had to fight literally all the best fighters in his division, one after the other, thanks to the World Boxing Super Series Cruiserweight Tournament. Dude beat Marco Hook. Dude beat Midas Brightus. Dude beat Marat Gassiev. And then he took a fight with Tony Bellew, who kind of lucked into a title, to be honest with you. But he cleared out his division, won all the belts, won the lineal title, won the franchise title, which I did apparently is a thing the WBF gives you. Or what's the WBC? I don't remember. Point being, I think Cruiserweight's better than he's given credit for because, and I think it's not given as much credit because there's not really a really good American in that division. But I think Usyk is earned the title. I think his resume is better than most of the other people talked about in the top pound for pound list. And I really struggle to kind of like his game is not, if you're not like a boxing technique freak, it's not very fun to watch. Like he's not a power puncher. He's very much a volume puncher, but like he moves. Not exactly like Vasyl Lomachenko, but as much as somebody who is a 200-pounder can fight like Vasyl Lomachenko. Like just incredible movement, great defense. And when he does like hurt you, he's very good about putting you away. And once he gets his reads, he can be deadly. So Alexander Usyk, potential Anthony Joshua matchup in the future. Now that they're signed to the same promoter, I believe. He's at heavyweight now. We'll see how he does there. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he beats all of them, like Joshua, Wilder, and Fury. Like he's that good. The only thing that worries me is like he doesn't hit, like I said, he doesn't hit all that hard. So, and this is a division where like he's not small, but like he's small compared to everybody else. He's 6'3", and the smallest of the top three at heavyweight is 6'6" and 50 pounds. So that's worrisome, but like skill for skill, this dude is just next level, and it would not surprise me if he beat all three of them and what became champ in this division. Next up, I have. So I'm surprised who didn't make your list, Sensei. You're the one championship fanatic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who did I slight?
Giorgio Petrosian.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I did not even. I did not even think of him.
So it's
not even gonna lie to you.
So it's funny. So okay, I actually did my list last week on the phone with Sensei. Everybody, because he shamefully reminded me that I hadn't started on mine. And I was coming up with like, okay, how am I gonna do this? I'm probably gonna do it by like, okay, this amount of boxers, this amount of kickboxers, this amount of wrestlers, this amount of MMA fighters, whatever. Then I looked at I was looking for kickboxers. I was looking for pound list, and yeah, I saw some on Twitter from like just random people tweeting about like, Takaru and Rico Verhoeven, and some people had Badir Hari, and that's a conversation for another day. But once I found a couple websites and a couple like Facebook groups or whatever, they reminded me that Giorgio Petrosian was still out here and still kicking ass.
Bro, he hasn't lost a fight in a long time.
Well, it's funny you should mention it. I was actually at the last fight he lost live. Glory 12 in New York, where I told my uncle, hey, that's the best kickboxer in the world.
Bro.
And then he proceeded to get uppercutted to oblivion by Andy Risty.
That was a legendary night.
It was.
That was a legendary night.
That was a wild night. That was a great night of fights.
Yeah, I was on Tumblr that night. I vividly remember being on Tumblr because somebody posted the same thing. Because I had no idea who Petrosian was. I was really new to kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, this is like the Anderson Silva kickboxing.
That was me.
You're right. Like, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, all right, this guy must be amazing. and then he just gets like flatlined.
Well, I think the thing. I think I remember my words. I was like shocked. I was like trying to explain to somebody how shocked I was. I was like, just imagine if like Anderson Silva got knocked out and then it ended up happening like a few months later.
Jesus Christ. But Andy Risty fought this year.
Andy Rissy's still out here. He's still doing stuff occasionally, but like he won the Glory title and then he just kind of
Stopped.
yeah like
According to Wiki.
well he lost to Robin Van Roosmalen and that was the thing, and then he just disappeared.
Appeared for 4 years, 6 now.
I mean, he's in Japan, not Japan. He's in China now. I don't know what he does between stuff, but
he fought on Kunlun Fight 81. He lost extra round decision.
maybe he went to go. I don't know.
Shout out to Risty though. That might be one of the single greatest nights one person can have.
Dude, just Robin Van Roosmalen and Giorgio Petruzzi, like knock them both out in the same night. But yeah, no. So Giorgio's on my list, even though he never got his revenge against Risty. Like I don't know what to say, man. He's like, he's the greatest kickboxer ever.
He's been a lot more violent lately too.
Yeah, that's just the old age setting in.
Yeah.
He's just like I don't want to move no more. I'm just starting knocking dudes out. You just start beating the shit out of them.
That's a good pick though. I did not think of him at all. That's a really good pick.
But that just longevity. He's got all the wins. He's got all the awards and accolades, and it's. I'm not even gonna say, like it seems kind of like redundant to talk about him like his career at this point, even though like we probably never talked about him on the show before.
Yeah, not in depth, but he's beat everybody.
The dude's been fighting since like I talked about Caraicho earlier. Like he started his career in 2003, and he is what 100. He's only lost like twice.
Bro, this man got Andy Sauer, Mike Zambitas, Cosmo on here,
Joe Nadawat,
David Kyria, of course, Robin Van Roosmalen. Bro, he's got some wins, like some really good wins.
Sudzakam. Like, yeah, dude is legit. Like, Cosmo Alexander. If you're doing a Mount Rushmore of kickboxing, Giorgio Petrosian's on it. Yeah. So, I don't know why it didn't click. Like, I knew he was still fighting, but like it didn't click in my. Oh, he's still out here beating like really good dudes. Like Joe Nada. Like I know Joe Nada probably hasn't been like. How do I describe this? He hasn't been like a prime win in a while, but like that's still a great win.
He smoked him.
Yeah. So, Giorgio Petrosian gets some love on my pound for pound list. Recently won the won championship featherweight tournament.
Yep.
So, shout out to Giorgio Petrosian. Surgeon, bro. Who do I have next? Because I went out of order with my list, and now I'm confused. So, Canelo, Teddy Riner, Jon Jones, Pereira, Sadulayev, Giorgio Petrosian, Usyk. I got 3 more, and I had to come up with number 10. I'm gonna go back to wrestling real quick.
All right.
So, my number 8, or my 8th person, not my number 8. There's a difference, no ranking. Taha Agul of Turkey. So, this one's a little bit more contentious because, Agul did win at the 2016 Olympic Games and is a 2-time Olympic champion. He also has a World Championship since 2017. He's only won silver. and I think he won bronze once. But it's him and this other dude who I'm not sure if I'm gonna put on my list yet, so I'm gonna hold off on saying his name. But I have been trading championships since the 2016 Olympic Games. But I'm going to keep him here just because, I'm gonna go to the eye test because if you've seen Taha Agul wrestle, like that's a scary man. Like he is a heavyweight. He's like 265 pounds. Um,
I want a man that large trying to.
yeah, and he is a bully in like the best sense of the word. Like 6'4", 265 pounds. Like you shouldn't move the way he moves, and as like powerful and athletically as he does, and like the fact that he's able to control other men this size is scary. Like and it's not, but like the same at the same time, he's not here just like dominating the field. Um, so I kind of wanna like be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, but I'm gonna just go ahead and put him on the list. Like he might be a 2-time Olympic champion by the end of next year. This year I should say. Um, but again, I wish I had like the wrestling pedigree to talk about like how good he is, but he is. Go if you haven't, go watch his run through the 2016 Olympic Games, where he's just bullying people and making them look like they've never wrestled a day before in their lives, and just like grabbing at the knee and like rolling them for like just to like beat them like 11-0. It's wild. So he gets some love. He's on my list. I think I'm gonna put, I'm gonna hold off on putting that other guy on my list and just throw him an honorable mention when we're done. Next up, I have Buchecha, Marcus Almeida, 2-time Abu Dhabi champion, 13-time IBJJF world champion at both the, I don't know what is it the 100 plus kilogram division? I'm just call it heavyweight and the absolute weight. Dude has won a medal at the IBJJFs every year since like 2010, 2011. Really wish he came to MMA when he said he was, but like just longevity and fucking like dominance, and he does it in both gi and non-gi. Like a dude who I kept off the list, Gordon Ryan.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah,
I was just about to ask.
like Gordon Ryan. Like I don't want to be like he's on the list because he's only a no gi guy, but he's not on the list because he didn't do them both. You feel me?
Mm.
And it's hard for me to like say, okay, Buchecha might only have 2 Abu Dhabi championships and might have lost to Ryan in one, but like he's doing it in both gi and no gi. Like he's doing it at the highest levels of both, as opposed to just the one. So it was like a little hard for me to be like, let me just put them both. So I don't know. I'm sure there are people who take issue with that. But yeah, no, like you want to talk about prolonged dominance. You want to talk about a guy who's just out here just fucking just completely owning and being the face of his sport. It's Buchecha. Like, dude was an absolute monster. I don't know if he'll ever get into MMA, but even if he just sticks to jiu-jitsu, like he's gonna leave. He's gonna leave probably the best jiu-jitsu fighter of all time when he's done. It's only 29, so if he's not already, so shouts to Buchecha, and at number 10, all right, Sensei.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's creeping in? Who got that last nod?
Sensei. Fuck it. I'm torn. I'm torn. Uh, you know what? I'm gonna go with the safe one that everybody knows. Vasyl Lomachenko.
Hey.
Okay, I'm gonna give him the edge because he is a two-time Olympic champion. Four weight. Is it four weights or is it three? I don't remember now. He went at 122, 126, and one. He skipped 130s. I think he went straight to 135. So let me just double check my math. Because I don't
Who was
want.
the who was the other person that was?
I will get to him. Yeah, he's a
Okay.
three-weight champion. Okay, Vasyl Lomachenko, three-weight champion. Um, you well, not completely unified, but he has multiple belts at each weight class. Absolute monster. Like you said, he made like three people, four people quit, which is they're not scrubs. They were all former world champions. Um, who just broke down, and you can't blame him with the type of assault that Lomachenko puts on his opponents. Just high volume, just ridiculous movement. Is like he gets to your back like he's Jussier Formiga. Like it's so ridiculous how easily he does it. Um, just absolute fiend when it comes to just making his opponents turn and shut up and then pick apart their guard and like he just hand fighting so that he can open up shots and like land like decent power. Like it's so ridiculous. So the fight to me where like I knew he was like the guy and special was actually a fight where everybody else was just like really down on him. But he fought in like his fourth fight. Um, he fought Pereira, a Thai fighter who had like an inflated record. And he proceeded to beat him with like one hand because he like
Hmm.
broke his right hand in like the first round. And that in and of itself isn't the amazing part. It's that he landed like 1,000 punches or something crazy like that. I have to look at the punch stats now because it was something crazy where like he landed all these shots with one hand. Uh, I don't think I'm gonna find it. Unfortunately, I want to. I want to keep us all on hold while I.
1,000 sounds good. We'll just go with 1,000. That sounds like a good stat.
It wasn't 1,000 obviously, but it was like he threw 1,000 punches. That's what it was. He threw
Jeez.
1,006 punches.
How how did they count that? Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, uh,
So I'm assuming that definitely went 12 rounds.
that went 12 rounds.
Okay, yeah, it's no yeah. You throw 1,000, it has to go 12. How did was it nothing but like three pieces? Like how do you throw 1,000 punches?
With a broken hand.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So like this like it, dude's a generational talent. My own like my only thing is that like he doesn't have that pound for pound win. Like normally it would be Guillermo Rigondeaux, but by the time he fought Rigondeaux, he was like old and beat up and kind of just sour on the sport to be honest with you. Like he's got good wins and like they're not bad. Like Luke Campbell, good win. Jose Pedraza, good win. Jorge Linares, really good win. Nicholas Walters, at the time, that was a very good win. Gary Russell Jr., good win. It, I'd argue they're just as strong, if not slightly stronger than Terrence Crawford. But I'm waiting on that Gervonta Davis win or that Mikey Garcia win. That really just puts him over the edge. Um, but like, but all the accomplishments, all the weight class titles, all the Olympic gold medals, just the ridiculous aesthetics to his style. They're not. It's not flash. It's all substance. That's the crazy part. Um, it's hard for me to discount him. And he's gonna go fight Teofimo Lopez, and hopefully Top Rank can put a good fight together after that if he wins. That's not always a given. Teofimo could turn out to be like the real deal, like the real deal. But yeah, Vasyl Lomachenko is my number 10. All right, and you wanted to know the guy who was going to be my number 10, who I was going back and forth with?
Yeah.
So remember when I mentioned that Taha Akgul hasn't won a world championship since like 2016, 2017?
Oh, somebody was in the spot.
Somebody was in his spot. His name is Gino Petriashvili, from Georgia. He's a three-time world champion. He won it from 2017 to 2019, I believe. And the reason I didn't put him on this list is just because he hasn't won an Olympic medal yet. He's 25. Every chance in the world he goes to 2020 Olympics, beats Agul, and becomes a champion there. They've traded wins back and forth. I think Agul beat him this year at the European Games. So, it's not guaranteed, but like, dude's been putting it on the world stage. He's competed against some of the best heavyweights on the planet. He's competed against the best heavyweights on the planet and beat them. It's an interesting life story too. When he was like 11 years old, like he was kidnapped and like held hostage for 3 months.
Yikes.
Yeah. I couldn't find much information on like what happened to him. I don't know if it was like a war thing or if he was just like, I don't know what was going on in Georgia 14 years ago. So I couldn't figure out like the specifics about like the whole thing, but like, oh wait, here we go.
Long time to be kidnapped.
Yeah, like normally after that point you're either dead or like, like a sex trafficking ring.
Yeah, nobody's hearing from you again.
He was held for ransom. That's all I was able to find out. Right, the kidnapping took place when he was returning home with his friends. Masked men would ambush and kidnap him. Though the reasons were not clear, many Georgian newspapers reported that he was kidnapped because his father, who owned fuel stations and was fairly well off, was a target in the region seeking independence and saw ethnic conflict between Georgia and Russia. So there you go. Geopolitical kidnappings.
Jeez.
Yeah. But now the dude's in one of the top wrestlers on the planet, so it all worked out, I guess. Yeah, he would have been on my list because, again, dude, like, as much shit as I give like the heavyweight divisions in MMA and boxing and kickboxing, like in amateur wrestling, like internationally, they tend to be pretty damn good.
They look like they actually try.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing the takedown and then gassing out after 2 minutes.
I mean, fuck, like Alexander Carroll, like fucking monster. Like, I don't know what it is about Russia, Turkey, all the old Soviet Union countries. Like, I don't know what it is about them that makes them all turn out like these Ivan Drago types. But it's working. Might be the roids. Might be the roids. Someone who I'm bummed isn't on this list is Demetrius Johnson. Because I feel like he should so be on this list, but the level of competition's gone down. Fucking that loss to Henry Cejudo. Could you hear my air quotes?
Hey man, according to the judges, yeah, I got my. I try not to hang that over his head. My hatred for him has gone down. I'm just gonna take that as revenge for him beating Kid and Torres way back when.
Hey, he beat my aunt's teammate, and I never held them against him.
My bitterness runs deep. But I mean, if we extended this list to like a top 15, he would have been on there. Top 15, he probably would have made it.
See, I got some people I probably put over him.
You know who I also tried to convince myself to put on this list, but I knew I couldn't?
Who was it?
Patricio Pitbull.
Ah,
I tried, and I knew I couldn't, but I just tried just to see like, well, what if like, just what if
well,
I couldn't do it?
I'll talk about Patricio tomorrow, but I was really bummed about our end of the year awards, and I wasn't able. I just couldn't put myself to put him in that conversation, or not put him in the conversation, but give him the award. It's been a great year for him.
I still gotta finish those. I still gotta finish those up.
See, that's the one I actually
That,
got the head jump on.
oh yeah, that. See, I got a head jump and then I stopped. Like, I did like I was like I'll just do like 3 awards a night, and then by the time we record, I'll have everything done. And then I did 3, and then I haven't done any since. So I'm running a little behind on that one, but I'll get there. I'll get there. But boom. So I guess that was that was our list. Those are our pound for pound top fighters in the world
I feel like
as of right now
yeah,
in 2020.
as of January 2020, this
Yeah,
all easily change in like a month.
right. Yeah. So as of we're recording this on January 4th, and at nighttime,
Of course.
2020. And yeah, right. Of course. This will. If I can get this out, I want to get this out actually on the anniversary, which would be Sunday. We'll see how much I can power through and try to edit this. But by the time you guys hear this, it'll have been our 3rd-year anniversary officially. Our 3rd-year anniversary is officially January 5th. We're recording this on the 4th. So but yeah, man, those are our lists,
Well,
pound for pound.
before we sign off, could we just read our list
Oh
like in full?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll go first. Like Canelo, Teddy Riner, Jon Jones, Alex Pereira, uh, Abdul Rashid Saidulayev, Georgia Petrosian, Alexander Usyk, Taha Ghul, Marcus Almeida, aka Bashesha, and Vasyl Lomachenko.
All right. And for me, number 10, Henry Cejudo. Number 9, Valentina Shevchenko. Number 8, Takeru Sagawa. Number 7, Habib Nurmagomedov. Number 6, Tenshin Nasukawa. Number 5, Alex Pereira. Number 4, Errol Spence Jr. Number 3, Jon Jones. Number 2, Vasyl Lomachenko. And number 1, Canelo Alvarez. So those are our list. Top 20. Top 10 pound for pound fighters on the planet for 2020 as of January 4th. If you have an issue with our list, go make your own. This was hard. This was really really hard, man. But this was fun. I'm glad we did it. Nobody else. I don't know anybody else who has a list like this. So I think we did something good. I would like to see if any of you guys out there, if you would attempt, I'd be interested to see what some other lists would look like. If any of you out there, especially if you watch like more than one combat sport, or even if you just watch MMA and just boxing, even if it's just those two, like try to mix those two together and see if you could make a pound for pound list out of that.
Well, and if like you follow a sport that we don't, like a combat sport we don't, like shoot us some people who you think should be on the list.
Right. Who's the best fencer?
Yeah. Hey, who's the best knockdown karate fighter? I'd like to know that. Like,
there you go.
Who's the best? Like, and I mentioned not having a Muay Thai fighter on my list. Like, who's the best Muay Thai fighter right now in the stadium scene?
Yeah. So help us help you. Yeah, give us some.
And this is a community.
Yeah. So share your list. Share your list. It'll stress you out. You'll have to watch a lot of highlights. You might get stressed out, and you end up leaving like your favorite person off the list. But it's fun. It's a good and you'll learn something. Like I feel like I learned a lot going back and watching like a lot of these fights. It was fun. It was a good time. So I would encourage you guys to try to do a list like this. It's fun. It's fun. Stressful, but it's worth it. But yeah, so this is our 3rd-year anniversary. Boom, we're still here, standing strong. Shout outs to the listeners, sticking us with us for 3 years. Shout out to you, Anti-Cool. I dragged you along, and you've just been here for 3 years.
I'm on the train to the wheels fall off, bruh.
There we go.
Yeah.
we here 3 years. 3 years running. Shout outs to Stoves and Joey. They've been our resident roommates for pretty much the whole time also. So shout outs to you guys. Shout out to everybody, man. If you've been listening for this long, we appreciate you. Next week, well, actually, real quick before we sign off, you guys will be getting 2 episodes this week. You'll be getting this episode, and then we'll have another episode, which we probably will record tomorrow, and that'll probably be out, I don't know, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll see how my editing works, but we'll be covering Ryzen 20, and I'll give PFL a mention. I didn't watch all of it, but I'll give it a mention. There was some interesting.
Yeah, it was great. It was actually really fun. I was surprised. That card could have had so much terrible potential.
Right.
They almost had to give Lance Palmer, Jordan Johnson, and freaking Jared Roshaw $1 million each and claim they were doing good business.
Yeah, man. We'll get to Ryzen in PFL, so you guys will get that episode also this week. And then the following week, man, it's the big one. We'll be doing our Dojo Talk Podcast award show. We'll have Joey and Stokes along for that one. I still need to finalize pretty much like all of my categories, so I gotta get to work on that this week. But
thank God the
yeah,
taking most of this month off.
Yeah, I needed it. I really needed that break. But yeah, so that'll be upcoming. So we're starting off 2020 with a lot of stuff happening. So the content will keep coming. But that's pretty much all we got for you guys. So as always, give this podcast a listen. SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Hit me up on Twitter and Twitch @Cerealsensei, and you can also hit the Anti-Cool on Twitter @GCZeus. That is all we got for today. Happy New Year's, you guys. Hope you bring in 2020. I hope you brought in 2020 on a good way. Hope you have a great year. But we are out. As always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.